Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro friends. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by our workshop that's happening on September 21st, assertiveness training for the hospitality industry. It's happening in Sydney at the UTS Business School and will be led by psychologist Jamie Berry. And he is that's what a big part of what he does is assertiveness training. And so if you would like tickets, head to mapitforward.org/events and grab your tickets today. It's a full day event and your ticket price, which is $75, includes food, coffee, and everything you'll need for the day. We'll be announcing our sponsors very soon for that event. And it's because of our sponsors that the ticket prices are so cheap. So we're excited that they've been able to come on board for that. Also sponsoring the podcast today is Elixir Specialty Coffee. If you are intending on coming to the event in Sydney on September the 21st, you'll have the opportunity when you purchase your ticket to also order an Elixir Trio, and you can pick it up at the event. That is a part of the Eventbrite ticket purchasing option. So head to mapitforward.org/events and check out the ticket that it leads you to on Eventbrite, and you can pick up an Elixir Trio with your Eventbrite ticket for the event. Today on the Daily Coffee Pro, we're talking about, does the way that you view your employer's success affect the way you actually do your work? Now, This is something that's really poignant for me at the moment as I look back at my career, both as an employee in the corporate world and an employee in the coffee world, and as an entrepreneur. And I look at the way that I experienced my career and the way that I witnessed the people I worked for. I wish I could tell you that I was always as learned and wise as I like to think I am today. But no, I was a little shit like everybody else was at various points in my career. And I looked at the way that my employers were doing business, and that really did sometimes, early on in my career, particularly in the corporate world, I would look at that and think, well, I don't really have to, I guess they've always got money, right? They're always successful, right? There's an endless stream of what's going on, so I don't have to do my best all of the time because my success, the company isn't dependent on my success. I'm sorry if you're watching this and you keep seeing me playing with my eye, but I can barely see out of my eye at the moment for some strange reason, right as I started this podcast. Anyway, clearly you know that it's live. Anyway, so I've heard a couple of people say recently, why should I work hard? My employer drives a Porsche. Or why should I go that extra mile? Because my employer X, Y, and Z. Or my boss is rolling in it. I tend to be hearing a lot of this stuff lately. And I wish it was new. It's not. It's always happened. And it just got me thinking. I'm not here to say whether that's right or wrong or good or bad or anything like that. Those statements are judgments. So, that's on whoever's saying it to determine whether they should be saying it or not. But it has given me pause to reflect on the way that I looked at my employers. And I did speak to some of my friends who are currently employers and asked them to reflect back on it. And it was really interesting because when I think about it now, I know that I would be a much better employee now, having been an employer, and appreciating how fucking hard it is to run a business and how much everybody thinks you have when you don't have anything. You constantly feel like you're struggling and building and can't get one step ahead. And just when you think you've finally got your footing, some asshole turns around and sues you, or somebody tries to make a quick buck out of you. It's really hard, really, really hard having a business. And I am very grateful for it because of everything that it's taught me, but it has definitely given me a new appreciation for how much I took for granted as an employee and how unaware I was of how hard it was for my employers just to make payroll every month. And I say this because if we as an industry just shifted our thinking a wee bit to be like, well, the work that I'm doing has to at least cover the cost of me. At the very least, if I make sure that I'm working my hardest and that I'm not a burden on the company, that is so much further ahead than where we would be as an industry, than where we are as an industry. It's just so imperative that we start conspiring to each other's success, even if it's just as a business. And what I mean by that is if you've got employers that are conspiring to the success of their employees and employees conspiring to the success of their employers, it's such a healthy ecosystem to operate in, right? It's one of those situations where no one's trying to fuck anybody over and everyone wins. Not just the employer and the employee, but the customers and the supply chain as well. And this is why, all of that feeds into itself in respect of all the other stuff we've spoken about on the podcast. Defining a culture so that you find the right people. When you have gone to the effort of doing that and you've got people who are working for you that are on board with your values and your concept and your culture, they are going to want to be a part of that ongoingly. And so if they see that they belong, they're going to hopefully, if you're providing them with the support that they need, they want to keep being successful, and their success is your success and your success is their success. And of course, that relationship leads customers to be happier. It leads them to want to come in and be a part of it all. But if employees aren't considering the role that they play, well, I guess the genesis of the role that they play. So if they're not considering whether fundamentally how they play a part in the success of the business, because most people in our industry see what they do as a job, and if they lose their job, there's plenty other places that they can go and work, right? But if we're all more deliberate about making sure that we're finding the right place to land, and that's a learnt skill. That's why we have career maps in Map It Forward, and we do these workshops to help you learn how to do that. And we do these workshops to help owners of businesses learn how to build a culture that receives the right people. When we're all getting more deliberate about that, then we're professionalizing the industry. And when we can do that, what we've got is everyone playing their part within each business to make it successful. And it's not just successful for one person, or it's not just a failure for one person. Imagine if, in best case scenario, there was transparency between cafe owners, roastery owners, business owners in general, and their staff. And they were revealing the numbers so that people understood what it actually meant if you were to give somebody a 30 or 40 cents an hour pay rise, and you were to do that across the board. And if you could actually show how that affects all of the books. If you hit hard times and your staff see that, they're much more on board to understanding the role that they can play in shifting the needle to get things back to where they need to be. And I'm a big believer in working together to make things happen. I'm a big believer that at everybody's core, if you're choosing to have people around you who are on the same intention as you are, then what ends up happening is that you're moving your ship in the same direction. Everyone's conspiring to that ship going in the right direction. I'm also a big believer that people don't intentionally, most of the time, try to fuck you over. I think that people can often be intentionally ignorant, but don't let them. Invite them to not be ignorant. Invite them to know what's going on in your business. And I would encourage employees to give more fucks about what the state of the business that they're working in is. And then when we've got that as the status quo in our industry, all of a sudden what we've got, as I said, is more people reaching success, both as employees and employers, and then we have the professionalization of our industry long term. I hope that's helped. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.